everyone, it's me, Speed Force Master. Today I'm making another video, and that is my ranking on the Terminator franchise from worst to best. Now, today, if you hadn't noticed, I made my Red Death voice impression, which apparently had more popularity than I thought it would, and I'm glad. Thank you. Anyway, that's not the point right now. I'm here to talk Terminator. So far, there are 6 movies, which Terminator is one of the best, unique, and well-made franchises of all time. It's one of my favorites. It's as good as the MCU, Star Wars, Alien, all that stuff. It's right in that level. And even some of the bad ones I like too, to be honest. And anyway, let's get to this. Coming in at last place is Terminator Genisys. Now, before I say anything negative, I just want to say that none of these movies I hate. I enjoy all of them. You're right to have your own opinion to not like any of these movies, but I can enjoy this one like any other. I'll watch it like any other. But it's at the bottom of the list for many reasons. One, it feels like big budget fan fiction where you have the rest of the movies which all connect to their timelines, right? Where we have the first movie and then T2, which is 11 years later, and how they would prevent that future from happening. And then the third one, where it's 9 years after, and Judgment Day has not been prevented, but only delayed. And it was happening at the same time as the new Judgment Day. And then it goes, and then the fourth movie. It's been 14 years since Judgment Day, and it takes place in an apocalyptic future. And then, while Dark Fate, the 6th one, takes place after T2, when once they defeat Skynet, there is no Skynet anymore. And all that. But with this movie, again, only the first 2 are canon in this timeline. And all it is really is more time travel, like Kyle Reese going back to meet Sarah Connor, and then John going evil when he does it. And again, I personally think as a for fun what if fan fiction story where what if John Connor became a Terminator? What if Sarah Connor worked with Terminators instead of being a waitress? What if a good old T-800 fought the evil T-800 from the first movie? what if they were exploring Skynet's origin through alternate timelines? All that's pretty cool, but which are a lot of things that I like about this movie. There's no problem with it. But the main thing that sticks out like a sore thumb when you compare it to all the other films is there's still a lot of bad scenes. Like, not only do almost all the cast members look nothing like the originals, but also some of the dialogue is kind of cheesy. There are scenes where they wouldn't even act like the original characters. Yeah. A lot of things that make me cringe even now when I watch it, but no means is this a bad movie. Although I can't call it a good movie. But it's entertaining. It's not like the Predator of the Terminator franchise. And if you've seen my ranking on that franchise, you'll understand what I mean by that. More of a AVPR type thing, but I'm not talking about Predator right now. But let's move on. Coming in at the top 5 is Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. Now, from here on up, these are all films that I consider to be good movies. And, I mean, honestly, you're free to not like this movie if you want. Same with a lot of people. We all have our different opinions on these. I mean, we can all agree that the first two are amazing, and we say what we want about the rest. Love them or hate them. Yeah. This movie not only does it succeed where Genesis fails on its placement in the timeline, but also it has less way of ruining the characters, but there are some bad scenes in this one too. Some ones that make it seem more like a comedy than anything, like one scene where the TX makes her breasts look bigger when she looks at a Victoria's Secret sign. And then the T-850 walks in the strip club, tells the guy to take off his clothes. And then he says a cringeworthy line that is, "Talk to the hand." And then he actually does it. And by the time he walks out, he puts on star glasses. That's kind of unnecessary and dumb. Some of the fight scenes are a little overuse of CGI, where it's kind of cheesy. But again, this is a good movie, just a few bad qualities. Also, I mean, especially when you compare it to my top 4, there's not really any consistency with this whatsoever. Which brings me to my number 4, and that is Terminator Salvation. This is one of the most criminally underrated movies ever. I mean, honestly, this was originally like my least favorite, since it didn't really feel like a Terminator movie. It just felt boring and something to fall asleep to. But when I watched it again, I was very entertained. When you think about it, it's almost like Aliens of the Terminator franchise. And by that meaning, not how good they are, but how they're war movies. And not only that, it tried to do something new. Where most of the sequels of this franchise fail, this one succeeds in doing something new. Instead of it being Skynet or Legion sending a Terminator back in time to kill someone, to erase the leader from the existence, and then the leader sends one of his or her soldiers back in time to protect that person. This time, it actually takes place in the War of Judgment Day. I mean, after Judgment Day. That's all I could say. Really good movie. I think it's a lot better than both T3 and Genesis, and a lot better than most people make it out to be. Coming in on my top 3 is Terminator Dark Fate. A lot of you are probably going to point your guns at me right now. And again, if we're going to keep bringing Alien into this, this would be Alien 3, according to most people, based on how it kills off the main character from the last film. I don't get it. I don't see how it's a problem. Really, it's easy for me to get past too. This is entertaining. Where most of the sequels fail, like I said with Salvation, only with that one, it's storyline. With this, it actually is brave enough to move on from Skynet. This one, they're actually brave enough to move on from Skynet. Sorry, I was busy. That's why I couldn't say anything. Anyway. And it's a new artificial intelligence named Legion. The Terminators are different. The leader is different. And all that good stuff. And the Rev 9 is cool too. I plan doing my ranking on the villains. And yeah, very underrated movie. My only negative with this, which makes it not as good as the first two, is the fact how if you watch the alternate ending for T2 in the director's cut, go check it out. This one contradicts it. And that alternate ending, go watch it, come back. Okay, well, as you already know, John Connor has a daughter, and he's still alive as an adult. Sarah is not all depressed, and it's really 2027 normal. And while with this movie, John Connor's been dead since he was 13. Sarah's been out killing and hunting for Terminator since, and all of that, which totally contradicts it. And for that reason alone, I don't consider this one canon. I mean, it doesn't mean it's bad. I just don't consider it canon. I like this movie a lot, as I do with Terminators 3 through 5 as well. But not that great of a movie, but highly watchable. I'll definitely recommend it. Coming into my top 2 is The Terminator. This movie is great. Many of you could argue whether or not this is a horror movie. It is, since based on the tone, the music, and the violence, of course. One of James Cameron's greatest movies. James Cameron is my favorite director. And it's got great scenes as usual, a lot of suspense, etc. But coming in at my top spot is Terminator 2 Judgment Day. This is one of my favorite movies ever made. One of the best sequels ever made. My favorite movie of all time, until Avengers Endgame and Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker came along. Anyway, and yes, I do like The Rise of Skywalker, don't judge me. If you've seen my Star Wars ranking, you already know that. But I'm talking about, again, this is an awesome movie. Every movie after this just copied the trend of Arnold Schwarzenegger going back in time as this anti-hero going up against a liquid metal Terminator. The T-1000 is very deadly. This is a masterpiece. And I like John Connor in this movie a lot. And great ending for a saga. I like the ending. 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 I like I consider this franchise being the Terminator and Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Everything else is just fan fiction that expands itself beyond the canon. I mean, anything after that is enjoyable at best, but I'm waiting for, if they make another movie, which a sequel to Dark Fate would be interesting, and also would have liked to see what would have happened after Salvation or Genesis, but pretty much, again, ignore everything after this movie. I know it's starting to get old, but acknowledge that alternate ending in the director's cut, and then I'll call that one too, and maybe do something Dark Fate did, where it's not Skynet anymore, the Terminators are different, and maybe instead of it being John, it could be his daughter. Yeah. And I take back what I said about Salvation. This is the Aliens of this franchise. They're both one of the best sequels ever made. Honestly, if we're talking number 2, this is my favorite sequel, and Aliens is a close second. And that's what James Cameron is good at. Other than that, it's honestly too much for me to explain. Well, everyone, this was just my ranking. If you disagree with me, that's fine. Tell me your ranking in the comments below. And let me know what video I should make next, but there are ones of my own I plan on doing